From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson. Thunder General Manager Sam Presti has announced that Kevin Durant is out for the remainder of the season. Darnell Mayberry, Thunder beat writer, joins us on the phone. And Darnell, obviously Durant had been ruled out of all basketball activity a week or so ago. Today, though, the announcement that he's out for the rest of the year, the playoffs included. What mitigated this news today?
Well, you know, when Sam Presti addressed the media last week, he said that they were going to go back to this team of specialists, 3 doctors, 2 in North Carolina, 1 in New York, to evaluate Kevin Durant further and to really try to determine what was the source of chronic soreness. After a week now, exactly a week, it has been determined that his initial surgery on that fractured 5th metatarsal in his right foot has regressed, and it wasn't just a screw that was pushing up against the bone that was causing the soreness as they originally thought, but now it's also been learned that the initial surgery, there's some complications to that. So he's going to have to go back in, have a 3rd surgery, and now he's going to be out 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, a change in what we thought, that screw that had been replaced, and that was the 2nd surgery. We really thought that was the issue. Apparently the Thunder did as well. Now that news has changed, and Darnell, that brings up the question of these Jones fractures and sort of how Kevin Durant got to this point. We've talked about, written about how prominent and prevalent these Jones fractures are, and there are some out there. But how did Kevin Durant get to this point where now it's not a simple recovery, it's not 1 surgery and done, now he's looking at a 3rd surgery and a protracted absence? How did we get to this point?
Well, it just seems like it's just been a string of unfortunate circumstances. You know, the wear and tear just over time is what caused the initial fracture. It was nothing that he did. He didn't, step on anyone's foot, or he didn't roll his ankle or anything like that. It just happened over time. They found out about it. They went in and tried to correct it. The screw that they used to put the bone in place and hold the bone, that was pushing up against another bone, a cuboid bone in his foot, and was causing soreness. So they tried to go in, fix that screw to eliminate the soreness, but that didn't work. Soreness was still there, and after all of that, they had to basically make a decision. Do we want to continue to try to give it time and let him rest, or do we want to go in and try to have a permanent remedy and have a bone graft, and which by, I guess, several experts' opinions, they say that's the safest route, but it's also a longer route, and that's where we are now. So it's just been a string of unfortunate circumstances, and because every player is different, every person is different in terms of how they heal, Kevin Durant has just had some complications that have been unfortunate and has gotten us here.
You talk about those unfortunate circumstances, Darnell, and lastly, let's talk about, bad luck comes. We've seen it before with the Thunder when it comes to injuries, not just this season, but back the last few. But the question now moving forward about Kevin Durant, since we know that he's not going to play this season, is what does this mean moving forward? And there's no way to know 100%. But, what does the future look like for Kevin Durant as he now faces an even longer rehab on this Jones fracture? Like you say, a more solid way to get it fixed. But sort of project this out. What does the future look like for Kevin Durant?
Well, 6 months will be September, pushing right up against the end of September, and that's exactly when the Thunder reconvenes for training camp, the preseason schedule. So that's going to be a little dicey. It could be if he has a setback, maybe he misses the start of the preseason next year while recovering. If he doesn't, he'll be back and ready to go. But at this point, after 3 surgeries, there's no telling how he's going to respond once he has this surgery. And so there are definitely some concerns still out there. But it's a long season next year, and even if he doesn't come into the season next year fully healthy, he has plenty of time to still rest, recover, rehab, and get right and help the Thunder potentially win a championship next year. So By all accounts, it seems like he's going to be fine next year after this 4 to 6 month period, but there are still questions about how he's going to respond from his third surgery.
We'll continue to have extensive coverage of the news about Kevin Durant's removal from the Thunder roster for the rest of this year. Will not play the rest of this regular season, will not be available during the postseason as he is out 4 to 6 months to rehab his foot. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.